I'm Jill McGinnis,
Jill
and
McGinnis.
I own Adventure Learning, a preschool for 3, 4, and 5-year-olds.
Wonderful. And did you always want to have the career you currently have?
I started off in college to be a forest ranger, and I found that there was far too much science, and I had a really hard time with it. And I always loved kids, and I was working in the child care center at college at University of Maine, Orono. And my mother came up to visit when I was failing a class and said, "Have you ever thought about teaching?" And I said, "That's ridiculous. I could never be a teacher." And then I thought about it, and usually your mother's right, and I thought, actually, that would be kind of fun. I switched to teaching, and oh, just one semester.
Just one semester.
Yeah.
So it's an easy switch. And there was a daycare at the school that you worked at?
At the college, it was just called the Children's Center. It was the daycare
awesome.
there. Yeah. So I'd always babysat in high school, and it was a work study job, and it was very fun. And yeah, and once I switched to, my grades went way up, and I loved every class. I just got so engaged in it. And
yeah.
Yeah.
It shows the difference, like passion gives in terms of motivation, like
yes.
really actually like
yeah, once I really liked it, and I loved learning about it, and I loved being able to do like the student teaching in the schools. And so I did get certified to teach K through 8 in the state of Maine, but when I first got out of college, I got a job at a daycare center, and within 5 years I opened this place. And then I let that go because I knew I would never want to work in the schools once I had my own place. So. In charge of your own hours, for one, I could choose that I do these classes that I'm working 9 to 3, Monday through Thursday, and then on Fridays I'm done at 11:30. I was able to be home, and I made a school year calendar. So I was able to be home when my kids were young in the summertime, and now I get to take care of my grandson in the summertime. So families, in Kittery, and being responsible for my own quality of what I can provide. It's the reason I don't have any employees either, is I really like just Adventure Learning is me,
Exactly.
One for nursery school, and that means it has to be under 3 hours or less. I don't usually keep my classes at 12. I keep my 3-year-old class at 8 because 3-year-olds are a lot more work, and I didn't keep my 4 and my 5-year-old classes at 10. But I have that option to go up to 12 if I want to. I just know what's a good comfort level and what works best for a group. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So with state regulations, how does that work with owning your own place? Is that any different than working at like a preschool that's already set up?
So I have to, because I am the director, I have to have 30 hours of continuing education every year, where if you're working as a teacher, I forget the number, but maybe it's 15 or 20 hours, it's less, There's just, I have to keep up with first aid and CPR every 2 years. Yeah, just different requirements like that the state, and they come in for an inspection every year. And working in daycare was fun, but it was a bigger place, and there were just more hours, and you worked in the summertime too. And I really wanted to do less maintenance care and more teaching.
Absolutely.
I didn't want to do the nap times and changing of the diapers. I wanted to teach.
Yeah.
So each class, I try to set it up so you could come to the 3-year-old class, the 4-year-old class, and the 5-year-old class, and it works its way up to being a little more challenging and a little more So with the 3s, it's real basic seasonal colors, holidays, jobs people do, transportation, some real basic things, because their skills, what they're working on, are social skills and learning how to share and learning to be away from mom or dad for the first time, learning not to bite your friend when you need a toy, you know. And real basics like the first letter to their name and trying to learn how to write their name. But then the 4-year-old class, because some of those children will go off to kindergarten, we're working more on letters and lacing and cutting. And then the afternoon class, because they're 4.5, 5, kids that either miss the cutoff date for kindergarten or need one more year. For them, we get into bigger units. We do a space unit right now. We're doing different countries. So 2 weeks on China, 2 weeks on Australia. You might remember those when you came here. So and then for that class, they're doing a journal and they're writing more words, you know, because they're all definitely going off to kindergarten. So my goal is kindergarten prep, but it's preschool, so it's supposed to be fun, and you have to be flexible when you work with kids, and you really need to just laugh and enjoy yourself because they're small children. We're not sitting down and doing workbooks, you know, we're learning through doing things.
Yeah.
Kids, because it's a small group of either 8 or 10, they get very close to each other too, you know, and they learn a lot of what I'm always saying is what's the number one rule of adventure learning is kindness. You know, a lot of what you're learning, being kind to each other, being very tolerant of each other's differences, you know. Don't forget to push in your chair. Don't forget to zipper up your backpack. I mean, there's a lot more to going to school than just learning your letters. It's all about being sort of a responsible member of the community, you know. I love hearing their view of the world. It's a nice little bubble, you know. I don't watch a lot of news, and I try to, sometimes I get with a bunch of grown-ups and think, I really have a lot of fun talking to the kids. They're very fun. I love talking to grown-ups too, but I also love meeting all the young families, you know. You hear a lot of people saying, oh, kids are always in front of the TV, they're this or that. It's not true. I see families that have got their, you know, they've got their kids out hiking and doing all kinds of exciting stuff. It's great hope for the world. There's lots of fabulous young families out there and lots of fabulous cool little people. Which is fun, you know, to run into them doing something they love and, you know, see them out somewhere and think, oh my God, you work here, that's great. Oh, you're a nurse now. Oh, you're a firefighter. Oh my goodness, you know, whatever. It's just neat to see where they've all gone. Yeah. How they've all grown up and, you know.
So many of them.
The ones that grow up to be an engineer and I'm like, oh, I knew you'd be an engineer. You know, you were such an engineering kind of kid. Or, yeah, the kid that could have sold me, you know, a cup of mud and they end up being a salesperson. I'm like, of course you are. You'd be a great salesperson. You were a great salesperson when you were 3 years old, you know? So anyway, it's just funny. I would say poopy diapers, poopy pants, being vomited on, you know. Things like that sometimes aren't so great.
Yeah, not always.
There's always a frustrating child or two that can be very challenging, but I do find great reward in taking that really challenging child and seeing how much they grow and change over the year too. So there are days I go home and I think, oh my goodness, that was the hardest day ever. But then 6 months later I think, oh wow, look at how far we've come. So
it makes it so worth it.
Yeah.
It is amazing how much they change just so rapidly.
So, yeah.
And
some of it is reassuring the parents that, you know, whatever stages they're going through, it's like, a few months from now, you're going to forget that this was pretty huge in your world, you know, because they'll be on to another stage of something. So.
Yeah, and so many of us go through it. And maintaining it.
I don't own the building, I rent it, which I wanted to do in the beginning, just because my husband loves to work on houses and buildings, and I figured it would consume a lot of his time, and he would have to gut it and redo it or something. So I really wanted to rent it so someone else was responsible for the building. And the landlord's been great. I mean, I had a flood and the carpet got ruined, and you know, I said, oh, instead of new carpet, can I have the hard floor, because that would be easier to clean. But I mean, the space has been great. I've really made it kind of what I want it to be, you know. And I can walk from my house, which is wonderful. And lots of people that come can walk here because they live in the neighborhood, you know. So I get lots of neighborhood. Yeah, so Caleb was born the year after I opened. So I opened and then I was pregnant with Caleb. And I put out a letter to all my parents and said, would anybody be interested in just in-house baby care, you know, do some bartering. I've done a lot of bartering with the school too. I've been my kitchen cupboard, somebody got free tuition. I've done a lot of, I barter for who cleans the school here. And so I was willing to barter some childcare for preschool. And it didn't work out to be a barter, but it did end up to be a parent whose one and only child was going off to kindergarten, and we came up with a decent price, and it worked out great. I brought him to her house at 8:30 in the morning, got here, taught school, and some days she'd bring him here to me at 3, and sometimes I'd go pick him up at 3:30 when I was done.
That's
so
amazing.
And Emma was 3, so she could come immediately. She just came to all classes, and then once Caleb got to be 2.5, 3, he started coming here too, until he went to kindergarten. So I would say the biggest challenge was when my kids were preschoolers, being their teacher. They were always with me, and I had higher expectations of their behavior. I wanted them to be perfect because I was the teacher. So when they were, you know, if they hurt somebody else, I was mortified, that kind of thing. But also it was exhausting to go home to preschoolers after being with preschoolers all day. So it was more fun when my kids got older, and then they get off the bus here and they love coming in and saying hi to the preschoolers. And yeah, so but now I'm looking forward to, in 2 years, getting my own little grandson to come here. I was done when they were done. I had the same school vacations, the same summer, so I got the perfect balance of being home with my kids and being a working mom. You know, it was a nice balance.